everyone. So I am here and I'm going to talk a little bit about our store and what's going on. So Luna del Sol. Luna del Sol was started a couple years ago. We actually had back when, let's see, when was it? It was probably 2009, 2010. We actually had a full store, and we worked with a woman down in Carbondale, and we had a store out of her storefront. That kind of fell through, and we've been trying to get it back up ever since. And so now we have our online business, and we do work in person, but only if you're close. And so the whole idea behind Luna del Sol, a couple years ago, as I said in the video that I did with Jasenia, just a week ago, I was ordained a couple years ago. I went through the full ordination process, and I basically gave a sacrifice that I would live my life in a sustainable manner. And so that basically means everything between my actual life, eating, where my water goes, recycling, etc., all the way over into the business side of everything. Where I get my herbs from, making sure that I have every resource available to me to make my resources, my products, sustainable for you guys. I think that's super, super important because we really are destroying this planet. And I think a lot of people are not committed to being sustainable and really looking at everything that they do and trying to figure out how to be sustainable with that. For instance, I use a computer, but I always try to make sure that every hour that I'm on the computer is offset in some way. The energy company that I use right now is a really great energy company that does a lot of wind and solar and does a lot of offsetting of the energy needs for this valley. So that's really nice. It's a really nice thing that they do. And I think it's really, really important that we are sustainable, especially in our practice, because we are earth stewards. What does it mean to be an earth steward? Basically, we are the only ones that we are the priests and priestesses of this planet. We are using the essential vital force of this planet, of the elements of the universe, and we are using that to work our magic with. We are the physical embodiments of this life force, of this massive force of the universe. We are the embodiment of that. And as pagans, as witches, we need to be mindful of that. And for a long time, I wasn't mindful. I would just get whatever I needed, use whatever I needed, and of course I was very thankful for it, but I wasn't mindful about where that was coming from and the damage I was doing. I decided to stop that when I became ordained. That was something that I was told that I needed to do. And it's been a long process. I am still in the process of making my entire life sustainable. I do fish, I hunt, I go out and I try and resource my own meat rather than resource it from the supermarket. I disagree with keeping an animal in a cage and it spends its whole life in a cage. That's all it knows. It never gets to walk outside and feel the sun on its back and feel the grass beneath its feet. So that to me is really, really important, not only as a witch, as an earth steward, but also as a vet tech, as someone who cares about animals and life on this planet. And as I'm sure you've known from past, not seminars, past lectures, I guess, I do not preach veganism. I do not preach vegetarianism. I don't necessarily think that valuing one life over another is acceptable. The apples that are plucked from that tree, they too are living. The grass that grows beneath our feet, that too is living. So valuing all life and understanding that we have to be knowledgeable and mindful of all the lives that we're touching. Whenever I take probiotics, I know that I'm killing certain bacteria in my body and replacing it with beneficial bacteria. I know this. It's a part of life. When I take antibiotics, I know that I'm killing life. And so I try to make every single life that I take sacred. I want to acknowledge that, yes, I am taking a life. I don't want to hold another life above another. I have the right to protect my life, and I have the right to protect the life of others, but I'm not going to hold one life above another. Every life is valued. Every life is sacred. That's truly wholly my belief. And so being mindful of every life that I take, of the vegetables I eat, of the fruit that I eat, knowing that every life is feeding mine, that I think is so, so important. And just recognizing that everything that we use has been sacrificed for us. So when I go to Mountain Rose Herbs and I make my order, I know that these herbs have died for me so that I can use them. And so I think being a shaman and being a druid and really focusing on that path and looking at life that way is very important. And so I really wanted to incorporate that into my business and offer that to everyone. I think it's so vital that we have those kind of offerings where maybe we aren't as mindful, but the stores that we're shopping from are mindful. That's really what I wanted to offer with Luna del Sol. That's really what I wanted to do to benefit my world and benefit my community. And I have had to make a lot of sacrifices to do that. For instance, we try really, really hard to resource our stones from non-blood or unethical mining places. That means that our stones are a little bit more expensive. We try our best to always make sure that our wildcrafted resources, the resins that I sell in the store, are wildcrafted by me, and I always give an offering and I do things in a very ethical manner. If I just went out there and I disgraced myself with the forest, it's probably not going to accept me anymore. And it has a right to say that. It has a right to say, no, you can't harvest from us anymore. When I go and try and buy frankincense, which is very, very endangered right now, dragon's blood is very endangered right now. I'm sure argan oil will become very endangered in the next few years. Being mindful of palm wax and where my palm wax comes from for my candles. Being mindful of everything that goes into the process of it is very important to me. And knowing that I am doing everything possible, humanly possible, to make sure that these resources that I'm getting from are ethical and sustainable. The wines that I use, a lot of wines actually do, like a lot of wine companies do a lot of sustainable practices. Would those vineyards be there if humans were not there? No, absolutely not. Those vineyards take a lot of work to upkeep. But also, those people, that's their livelihood. They're not going to do anything that's really going to harm the soil and make it fallow or harm those plants. Some of those plants in Napa are hundreds of years old. Same goes for European companies. A lot of them are non-GMO. They're very, very ethically resourced because they know that these plants wouldn't exist without us, and they are ancient. They are hundreds to thousands of years old. So I'm always doing research. Right now I'm in the wine business full-time as my profession and as my full income. And so I know a lot about the wine business because I'm constantly talking to people that are actually part of the vineyard or are representing the vineyard. And I'm always doing research in that way. And I think that that's really, really important to make sure that we are being sustainable in everything that we do. And that's what I really wanted to offer. So, yeah. And it is a lifelong process, and my business is still It's a very small business still, and I'm constantly trying to reach out and expand my product line. If you have anything that you're interested in or anything that you want to know about, let me know. I am happy to answer any questions that you have. Um, if you just want to see a certain product and aren't sure about how to go about getting it, I am as long as I can do so in a respectful and responsible manner. I don't want to offer anything that is just going to be taken off the market. Um, my stone dealer that I have here in town, she's awesome. She's amazing. And I'm always asking her questions, and I'm always trying to get a really good feel about where her stones come from. But I do understand that a lot of times, if you go to these big rock shows or if you go to places like this, they're not going to know, and they may lie about it. However, I think it's still reasonable to ask, and I think it's important to ask, and I think it's important to try our best to be as sustainable and ethical as we can. I think a couple years ago I had a discussion with a woman, and she was talking about black salt from Walmart, some black salt from Walmart. That is actually culinary black salt. I believe it comes from Hawaii, and I don't know how that is manufactured. I don't know anything about that. The black salt that I make, I actually make from like sea salt, ethically sustainable sea salt, and my own charcoal. I generally use bamboo charcoal, but sometimes that's not available to me, and so I have to really see what I can find. Unfortunately, as far as charcoal for incense, a lot of places are not ethical or sustainable. They're made with chemicals, they're made with a lot of toxic ingredients. You do have to be careful with that because those fumes, as the charcoal is lighting, those are potentially harmful to you. So I always recommend if you use those charcoals to go outside. So when I make my black salt, I try to make it every single ingredient I've touched, I know, I've prayed over everything that I've done. That is how I recommend making black salt. I have a lot of, I have a couple videos on it, I think, and I have some pictures. I did like a little diorama of it. I've also done a lot of documents on that. It's a really cheap, easy way to make black salt, and I recommend it for everyone. I think you all should be making your black salt. Please do so. It adds so much to it. It really does. Your own energy adds so much to that, and you know where everything comes from, and you can feel good about it. I want you all to feel good about every product that you get from us and everything that we teach you. And I think that's so important. That's also part of why I made Luna del Sol. I wanted to provide this so that people could feel really good and really practice what they preach and really delve into their practice in such a deep, intense way, and be involved in every step of everything that you do. I think that's so vital and so important. But anyway, we had a discussion about how this black salt, I don't know if it's ethical, I don't know where it comes from, I don't know who harvested it, I don't know anything about it. And I told her that, and I told her I think it's always better when you make your own, and I can tell you how to make your own. And it became kind of this whole big fiasco where people were like really on guard and really defensive about it. Use whatever you want to use. It's your practice. Bottom line, it's your practice. You can buy whatever you want to buy. You can use whatever you want to use. But the only point that I'm trying to make is to be mindful about that. And I think mindfulness is so, so important in everything that we do, in every interaction that we have. To be mindful. That person is also living. That person is also going through stuff that I may not understand, may not know about, and to be understanding of that. That doesn't mean you can let anyone hurt you. Don't ever let anyone hurt you. Don't ever let anyone degrade you or take your power or anything. But be mindful that they might be suffering. But also, the point I made to her specifically, and to these people who got very defensive about it, is if you buy a diamond ring that's a blood diamond, and you go and you get married with it, look at that energy that you've now tainted this very sacred union. I mean, someone died for that. Someone was abused for that. And I honestly do, you can cleanse a lot of stuff, but I think a lot of stones are very important, especially faceted stones. They hold memory. They hold everything that they've seen, that they've been through, that has touched them. Do I think that you can really cleanse that blood of that person off of that stone? Probably not. I think it's really important to be mindful of that. For instance, a lot of tourmaline, black tourmaline, comes from the Middle East, and a lot of these mines finance ISIS, the Taliban, big, horrible terrorist organizations, and a lot of them are not ethically mined. So I have to be really, really mindful whenever I'm trying to get these stones. But I also want everyone to be mindful of that too. And I think sustainable mining is not something that we really talk about in paganism. As far as anywhere, I've only really seen a couple of videos on it, and they were beautiful videos, and I'm happy to link them below. And I think that the people in them make really, really good points. And the point that they were making is that if it's not sustainable, then why are we using it? And if it's not ethical, then we're tainting our craft with it. And it's true. It's honestly true, and I know that is a hard truth, but it's something that I've had to really take into perspective with the store and with even my own practice, doing magic for other people, doing magic for myself, knowing that some of these herbs, some of these resins, some of these things that I've used in the past were not ethically made, that were not ethically harvested, not ethically mined, and that sucks. And I feel really bad about that. But all I can do is change the way that I think today. I can't go back and do the past. That's gone. But now I can set a good foot forward, and I can increase my practice, and I can increase my education, and I can evolve my practice. And that's really what both Luna del Sol and Weavers of the Web is about, evolving our personal practice. I want to empower every single person who comes to us as a client, or who comes to us as a student, or just comes to us and joins our group. I want to empower every single one of you to be the best person that you can be, to be the best witch that you can be, and I want to really strengthen your craft. I want to help you strengthen your craft. I want to strengthen my own craft, because I have a long way to go. I have a long life to live, and I have a long way to go. And I am certainly nowhere near where I need to be. And every single day I have to make the choice, and I have to be mindful, and sometimes I fail. Sometimes I just completely fail. It happens. I understand that, I acknowledge that, I accept that. I'm only human, but every single day I try to be better than I was before. And so that's really what I wanted to do with my group, with Weavers of the Web. I wanted to make us truly Weavers of the Web. What does that mean? It means really connecting and being symbiotic, not only with our community, not only with our world, but with the universe, with everything that we touch, with every life that we touch, with every life that we take into ourselves when we eat, when we drink. And really plugging ourselves into this giant circuit of energy, of life force, of the constant process of birth, life, death, and rebirth. And really coming together as a community to strengthen and bond and encourage everyone and be respectful of everyone. And that's why I think being eclectic and being interfaith is so important, because we're all different. We have all different ways of viewing things. We are all different people. And if you look at human evolution, we all started in this one little spot and we were all the same. And look at where we are now. We are all over the world and we have diversified. We have every tone of skin, we have every tone of hair, every tone of eyes. We are all so different, and yet we are all the same. That is so beautiful, and I want every single person to really embrace that, because you are beautiful, and you are important, and you are so amazing. And I want to empower you to feel that way. Because you are living this life, and you are going through this process, and you are having all these amazing human experiences. Some of them are painful, some of them are joyous, but you are here and you are alive, and this life is yours. Your practice is yours. Your power is yours. Your voice is yours. So, be empowered. Be inspired. Come be a part of Luna del Sol and Weavers of the Web. I encourage everyone to participate. You are all welcome. As long as you come with respect and kindness and acceptance, you are all welcome. And my group so far is so diversified. We have people from the Yoruba community. We have people who are from the Appalachians and they do folk magic. We have people who do brujeria. We have people who do druidism, shamanism. We are so diverse, and I think that is so beautiful that we can all come together and just talk about things, ask each other questions. I don't know a whole lot about the Yoruba traditions. I don't know a whole lot about a lot of things. Judaism, and we have someone who is of the Muslim faith, and I think that is so beautiful that we can all come together and no one is disrespected and no one is harmed in any way. Even if we don't agree with each other, I think that's so great that when we don't agree with each other, we can talk about it. I hate seeing all these groups that are reporting each other and, basically blocking each other from at least a week's worth of income and advertising and talking to people and networking, and I think that's wrong. I think that's a very childish way to go about it. And I know that's not a favorable, it's not a popular view, but it is my view. I think we are being really childish with that, and I don't think that serves us in any way. I think it serves us more to be interactive with each other and really talk about things and discuss things and challenge each other's belief. I think it is so vital when we challenge each other's beliefs. We, as more experienced practitioners, that's really how we grow. It really is. When we are able to just see and hear another person's perspective on something and consider it and say, I understand. That doesn't mean you agree, but you understand it. That, I think, is so important. I know Jasmina goes through a lot of being blocked. I know I was blocked. I know lots of other people have been blocked. And I think that's sad. Why are we blocking each other? Why are we taking each other's voices and disempowering each other when we should just be conversing about things? Let's just have a conversation. There's never anything wrong with having a conversation. And unfortunately, I've seen in some other groups where a Muslim person will come in and they will try and talk about their beliefs and share their beliefs, and then they're completely shut down. And that's sad. I don't want that to happen. I don't like seeing that. I want us to all be able to communicate and to talk to each other and see each other's viewpoints. And it's okay to disagree. It's okay. We can disagree. That's fine, as long as we are respectful to each other. So, yeah. I'm not really sure what else to say with this. I just kind of wanted to talk about the business and talk about Luna del Sol as an ethical business, and talk about Weavers of the Web, which just got trademarked. Yay! I've had that name since 2008, and I just now trademarked it we're going to see how that process goes. I'm hoping for the best, but yeah. So that was a big step for us. I might decide to sell at some point. I don't ever see that happening, but maybe if we decided to move out of the country, that might happen. Or maybe we can just have this giant hive of weavers of the web, and we can all just branch off and be a little piece of that world, that global web that we are trying to make and trying to connect with. That to me would be the best thing. If we can just like hive off and have a whole bunch of weavers of the web everywhere and really just come together as a whole globalized community, I think that would be so beautiful. And I would really embrace that. But I don't know if that's ever going to happen. That's a dream. But I just wanted to give you guys a little bit more information, go a little bit more in depth with everything. And I know that some of my products are not super affordable, and I apologize for that. I try to make them as affordable as possible, and as fair as possible. But it does take a lot of research and a lot of time, and I don't go out and I don't buy pre-ground herbs. I actually grind them myself, and that does take a lot of time. Every single Kiffy that I've made, I've probably spent at least 12 plus hours on, and I'm not even really getting paid for that time. And yeah, I know that that's probably not sustainable for a business perspective, but it's something that I wanted to offer, and it's something that I'm really passionate about and I really love doing. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a broader overview, a little bit more in depth than I did with Jasenia in our interview last week. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you enjoy watching this in the future, and thank you. Talk to you later.